Hello and welcome to MSOC Media Weekly Roundup. My name is Rose and now let's get straight onto the news. More than 150 flights were cancelled across major Indian airports over 3 days, causing widespread disruption for travellers bound for Gulf destinations across to Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Bahrain, King Fahd, King Khalid, Ras Al Khaimah and Malé, which were hit the hardest with repeated cancellations by Gulf Air, Indigo, Air India and Saudi Airlines. Delhi and Mumbai saw the largest number of affected departures, while Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai, Kochi, Ahmedabad, Kolkata and Pune also faced significant operational strain. Passengers struggled to rebook as airlines issued rolling updates, underscoring the pressure on India's busiest international corridors. Iran has warned that any US or Israel-led strike on its energy infrastructure would trigger massive regional disruption, threatening to ignite the Middle East's oil and gas sector. The warning comes amid escalating conflict following US-Israel strikes that killed senior Iranian leaders. Iran has since launched drone and missile attacks, tightened control over the Strait of Hormuz, and praised its regional allies in the resistance front. Iranian officials say the US has made a grave miscalculation and insist they will not back down. Around 50 Jacobite Syrian Orthodox churches across the UK are having Passion Week services like we do every year. The initial preparations have been completed. This year, we have the Jacobite suburbs Dunfermline Diocese Head, His Grace Yuhanon Milithios Metropolitan, leading the Passion Week services at different churches in the UK. On behalf of MSOC UK Council, Treasurer Shibi Champanath has requested all our devotees to arrange their work schedules to take part and be blessed in our Passion Week services all around the UK. On Friday the 6th of March, J Sawyer held their weekly Lent prayer, which was hosted by Zone 3 and led by Father Eldos KG and Father Philip Thomas. St Thomas JSOC London held a mid-Lent evening prayer on the 10th of March. St George J Sawyer Leeds held their mid-Lent prayer retreat on the 11th of March, led by Father Morgan Varghese from the USA. St George JSOC Leeds also celebrated Women's Day at church, where the women were blessed with flowers. On the 11th of March, St Mary's JSOC Manchester held a mid-Lent service and Holy Qurbana led by Father Sana Matthew. St Ignatius Elias JSOC Belfast held a mid-Lent service and Holy Qurbana, which was led by Father Ajay Varghese with the assistance of Deacon Vijay Paul. In accordance with the Great Lent, St Mary's JSOC Hampshire organised a Divine Experience meditation on March 13th, led by Vicar Reverend Father Eldos Vengada. A mid-Lent convention was held at St Mary's JSOC Manchester, led by Reverend Father Madhumani on Saturday the 14th of March. St Mary's JSOC Hampshire will be having their JSVBS on the 21st of March, with the theme of the year being I Will Rejoice in the Lord from Habakkuk chapter 3 verse 18. Youth Lent Retreat Ignite is happening on the 21st of March for all youth ages 16 to 30, taking place at St Thomas JSOC London, where there will be inspiring talks from Father Shailene Ganudara and Ron Sunny, along with fellowship and activities. The UK North Mariam Banan Samajam is preparing for the annual conference on Saturday the 11th of April, hosted by St Mary's JSOC Hampshire. Father Sibi Balayel completed 24 years of priesthood and was honoured with heartfelt wishes and prayers by the faithful of St George JSOC Birmingham, following Mass on the 7th of March. Episode 63 of UK North Mariam Banan Samajam Veeravajana Tanalil was led by Mrs. Jinsey Paul from St James JSOC Guildford. St George JSOC Aberdeen has formed their new managing committee, consisting of Reverend Father George Parakatil, the Vicar, Sidhu Ipe as Secretary, Elder Budikil as Treasurer, Libin Thomas as Joint Secretary, John Varghese as Council Member, Jees Kuriakos as Auditor, Sindhu Jees as Vanada Samajam Secretary, Deepa Paul as Sunday School Head Teacher, Nisha Reggie as Sunday School Representative, and Reggie Paul, Gio Paul, Pramod Paul, Paul Varghese, Pritesh Paul, and George Solomon as the committee members. St Gregorios JSOC Eastbourne has formed their managing committee, consisting of Very Reverend Father Raju Cherivil Episcopa as President, Reverend Father Johnson Peter as Vice President, Mr. Santos Korean as Secretary, Mr. Vijan Chapa as Trustee, Mr. Sean Jimmy Zakaria, Mr. Aaron Peter, Mr. Rigimon Elias as committee members, Mr. Jomit Thomas as part of Youth Association, Mrs. Sani Eldos as part of Vanada Samajam, and Mrs. Dintu Matthew as part of Sunday School. St. Simon JSOC Gloucester has elected their managing committee, consisting of Father Anish Varghese as President, Vinod Abraham as Vice President, Lalu Paul as Secretary, Eldo T. Baby as Joint Secretary, Sibiraj Matthew as Trustee, Jormon P. George as Joint Trustee, Joby George, Denny Varghese, Vipin Kuriakos, Jinesh Matthew, Manoj Matthew as committee members, Sally Vincent as Vanada Samajam Secretary, and Vincent Scurrier as Auditor. St Joseph JSOC Redditch have formed a new managing committee, consisting of Father Eldos KG Karagavalli as President and Vicar, Mr. Bobby Matthews as Vice President, Mr. Eldos Matthew as Secretary, Mr. Anil Ausif as Joint Secretary, Mr. Matthew Varghese as Trustee, Mr. Shoy Kuriakos, Agnes Mariam Jain, Mr. Sabo Kuriakos, Mr. Basil George as Executive Members, Mr. Ebi Ipe as Sunday School Headmaster, Mrs. Sajana Jacob as Vanada Samajam Representative, Mr. Alex Matthew as Youth Association Representative, Mr. George Isaac as Church Representative, and Mr. Biju Varghese as Zonal Council Representative. With Passion Week approaching, make sure to go check out our social media platforms for updates on the closest church services near to you.
That's it for this week's Weekly Roundup. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.